It's me, MLB. Here is chapter 35 of Heard You Like Me, and this one is titled Main Street Threat. Got a delightful chap at 10 o'clock, you whispered to Jirou as you turned to her and placed your back facing the guy in question. He, doesn't seem to like heroes. Good for him. Jirou mused and you snorted. Okay, that was funny. I liked that. You chuckled. Anyway, keep an eye out for him. Not sure what his angle is, whether or not he wants to do something about how much he dislikes heroes, or is just mentioning his dislike. Okay, she said, glancing at him before looking away. Always meddling, the guy thought with annoyance as he walked off. Okay, looks like Bag of Fun has decided to move on, you said once you'd glanced over your shoulder and seen him walking off. Shall we continue? We have a few more hours before we have to go back to the meeting point. Okay, Jirou nodded. You and her continued on, doing your best to keep an eye out for anyone needing help, and unfortunately a few times you spotted this same homeless-looking guy who didn't like you, and even more unfortunately it seemed like you two were always in the same area at the same time. I've seen the same guy 5 times now, you commented to Jirou. What guy? She asked. Happiness personified, you replied. The guy who hates heroes. Oh, him, she said. Sorry, I haven't seen him. Maybe it's because I recognise his unmistakable happy inner voice, you replied sarcastically. Okay, but he's not causing any problems, is he? She asked. So far no, you replied. Okay, let's hope it stays that way, she said back. He doesn't want to come anywhere near us, so we should be fine, you said with a shrug. Come on, we have 1 hour to go, and then we have to be back at the meeting point, she said, and you smiled at her. Yeah, true. Okay, let's help someone, you said, getting into a crouched position as if to catch a football, and Jirou snorted. You're such a dork, she giggled. Yeah, but you love it, you said with a wink, as you stood back up properly and the two of you headed off down the street. As you walked, you glanced over your shoulder again to check and make sure that that guy wasn't around still. There was something about him that was making you uneasy. After patrols were done, you and Jirou headed back to meet up with the hero and the other girls, and you smiled as you saw Mina and Momo coming back to the group. Momo looked up and gave you a bright smile back, and you sighed internally. Ugh, damn, girl. Why do you have to be so damn gorgeous? You thought, tearing your eyes away from her and looking back to the hero as he walked over to greet you all. Well done, he said when he saw that you were all present. How did patrols go? Any mishaps? None, you all said, and he nodded proudly. You've done very well this week. Now, this afternoon we're going to assist with cleaning up after the parade yesterday. There doesn't appear to be too much mess, thankfully, just a few garbage bags on the side of the road that need to be lifted into the garbage truck that will be coming past in about a half an hour's time. And then after that there is a new set of apartments at the end of town, and a number of families are moving in at the same time. They've asked for some assistance as there will be plenty of moving vans and heavy items to carry, so we need manpower. Or woman power, Momo said in her mind, and you smirked to yourself. Bro here is going to see manpower in action soon with all of us baddies on site. Hello, you thought. Okay, heroes, he said, bringing your attention back to himself. Let's get to it. You and your girl pals all called out in reply to his enthusiastic cry, and then turned and headed off as a group towards the main street to prepare for the garbage truck to arrive. Hey guys, let's get some kind of teamwork thing going, you said as soon as you got to the start point of the street and saw the large garbage bags along the side of the road, lining all the way along to the other end where Momo had set off her flare the day before. What did you have in mind, Yin? Momo asked sweetly. I'll die, and you guys carry on, you said, and she sweat dropped. I'm kidding, you replied. What about if we have 2 of us riding on the back of the garbage truck and the other 2 picking up the bags and tossing them up to us, and we'll chuck them in? It might make it more seamless. Yeah, that actually sounds good, Mina said. Yin, you and I will be in the truck, and Momo and Jirou can walk and toss. Jirou, I can make exoskeletons to support us in lifting these bags so they're not so heavy, Momo said excitedly. Does that sound good? Yeah, Jirou said with a nod, and then she looked at you to ask something, but you were looking away at something else and she stopped. Is everything okay? She asked, after observing you focusing on something for a few minutes. You looked at her blandly for a second and then blinked. Sorry, yeah, all good, you said quickly. She looked in the direction that you had been staring just a second ago, but couldn't see anything that would have been of interest to you, and so looked back at you to ask her question. Am I throwing to you? She asked. Of course, baby, I got you, you replied with a wink. Okay, she said with a blush. Then you all looked up when you heard the garbage truck coming down the road towards you. Here's my ride, you said cheekily, which made the other girls giggle. But although you were still acting normal, you had heard something a little earlier that had you keeping a closer eye out for trouble. That guy was still hanging around, and his inner thoughts were starting to get more and more paranoid and strange. What had started with him just bad-mouthing heroes was now turning into him being worried that you and your group were following him, and his last inner thought had been, if they come near me, I'll show them what it's like to exist in a different life. Now, that one had concerned you. This man was not in his right mind, and it sounded like he could be a potential threat. I just need to make sure that we stay away from him, you thought, as Mina stepped forwards to signal the garbage truck to stop so she could talk to the driver and tell him what you had planned to do. While she was talking, you looked around for that guy again, being able to locate him easily from his scrambled inner thoughts. He's in that alleyway, up on the right, you thought, noting that there was a pile of rubbish bags just outside the entrance to the alleyway. Oh, damn. Maybe I'll be the one to grab those, you thought. Or maybe we should just leave them. Yen! Hey, Yen! You ready? Mina's voice penetrated your thoughts. Ew, let's go! Hup! You said suddenly, snapping back to the present and dropping into a low squat stance. Give it to me! Oh wait, I gotta be on the truck, right? Hurry up and get up here, she laughed, throwing her hand out for you to grab onto and pulling you up onto the back of the truck. Okay, ready? Momo called, after her and Jirou had fitted the exoskeletons, made by her, to themselves. Let's go, you said, quickly making a note of how far down the road this alleyway was and checking to see if the guy was still there, but his thoughts had seemed to either vanish or he was just standing quietly in there. You couldn't tell. The garbage truck started to move slowly then, and Jirou picked up a garbage bag and threw it at you, which you caught and chucked into the open back of the truck, smiling when this system appeared to work. Hit me, baby, you called, putting your arms out for the next one and catching it before dumping it quickly. One after the other, the bags came at you, and you caught them and tossed them. But all the while, you were listening in for old mate's voice, but couldn't hear it anymore. I hope he's gone, you thought, glancing around the side of the truck to see how far the alleyway was. It was coming up fast, and you did a scan around, but still no voice. He must be gone, you thought, but still you were uneasy. As you neared the alleyway, you jumped off the truck and jogged over to the rubbish bags at the entrance. Hey, Yen, get back on, Mina called. Yeah, hold up, I just got to grab these. Hang on, you said, as you grabbed for one and then looked down the empty alleyway. Is he there? It's a cliffhanger. Stay tuned for tomorrow. We'll find out what happens then. Bye, see you then.